Hi, I'm Brendan Hemingway, a co-founder of Pythia Cyber, and I'm here today talking to Ted Hayes about what we mean by cybersecurity.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ted Hayes. Thank you for watching our video. I'm a research psychologist in the Washington, D.C. area. And what we're going to talk about is how behavioral cybersecurity is related to what we do at Pythia because our clients can't become cyber secure without good behavioral practices.
Yes, that's something we do get asked a bit, which is why we have a behavioral component to our services. So I'm going to ask you that. Why do we have a behavioral component to our services?
For many years, the Nobel Prize Committee has recognized behavioral aspects of economics with its award. And this is something that I think more sophisticated clients are looking to. Why do people behave in certain ways in organizations? How does their behavior, if they're people are not automatons, how does their behavior affect my productivity as well as my cybersecurity? So we want to talk about behavioral cybersecurity as a way to achieve not only productivity, but also effective security in your organization. Most managers are selected because they manage toward productivity. You get more widgets, you sell more widgets, you service more widgets, right? And that's important. I mean, if you don't have money coming in the door for productivity, then your doors don't stay open. In a world, though, where the the systems that we use are increasingly moving from physical widgets to virtual widgets, where the systems that manage the virtual widgets are interconnected with each other. Cybersecurity is imperative for a productive environment because it it's not just about creating things, servicing things, and selling things. It's about maintaining the integrity of those systems so that you keep uptime, you keep information secure, and you keep your property away from people who wish to steal it.
So that makes sense, but we both know, unfortunately, one of the questions we both get is how do we deal with the slight creep factor of that behavioral science sometimes brings with it? People are a little bit concerned about what you're going to be doing when we bring you on a job. So I was hoping you could give people a sense of just how uncreepy it is.
It's part of good management practice. So when you apply for a job, you might have an assessment, and that assessment could be a test, it could be an interview, it could be some sort of demonstration of your capacity. This is entirely normal course of business. But when you're on the job, then you have opportunities to learn things. You have reactions to systems and other people, and you do things. So we call these ABCs, right? Affect, behavior, and cognition. So what I mean by that is you like working in places, you enjoy your work, you don't like your colleagues, you find your work to be boring. Okay, so that's affect. There's cognition, which is what you learn. Most organizations have training, either mandatory annual training, or maybe there's training about a new system, but that's all things you have to learn. But then there's behavior, which is what you do. Most people can do a whole bunch of things, but they really only are likely to do certain things. Mostly that's because we are having a good day. Um, we're distracted by things that are going on at home. So our can do versus will do is a little different. With behavioral cybersecurity, what we want to do is focus on you doing things, that's the behavior part, doing things that are productive and managing you away from things that are unproductive or even counterproductive, or in rare cases, um, uh, insider threat activity. And those are rare, but they do happen. People do steal things, people do engage in espionage. People may inadvertently give information to other people who are looking to capitalize on that information. So with behavioral cybersecurity, we're trying to do two things at once. We're trying to keep you focused on things that are important because cybersecurity is everybody's job. But the security part of it means that we're also trying to motivate you and give you feedback to avoid things that are counterproductive with with the IT systems you have at work.
So we'll return to the insider threat thing in a minute because that is something we need to talk about, but people hate to talk about. But before we get there, I wanted you to help people understand why we say we're more than compliance. What are we getting over and above compliance with behavioral science?
So compliance is all about meeting standards. It's all about doing things by the book. People are not interchangeable. They're not robots. They're not cogs. They're not widgets. Many people will do more than you have as standards. They want to excel. They want to support their team. They want to work to the betterment of their customers. They want to win awards and recognition. And that's the type of behavior that you have to manage to as a leader at any level of an organization. You need people to do just a little bit more than what their baseline expectation is. Not that they should do less than their baseline expectation or just their baseline expectation. They should do a little bit more. At the same time, most performance standards are not including aspects of cybersecurity because that's generally seen as IT's job. So what we want to talk about at Pythia is that cybersecurity is everybody's job, even if your job is sales or manufacturing or marketing or patient care. You interact with IT systems, you have to know how to exceed expectations for using them responsibly and avoiding situations where you're going to put the organization at risk.
So this is what we mean when we say we're looking for commitment over compliance.
Compliance is necessary for most things. Standards, procedures, rules. Maybe we think that we're beyond that, or we already know that, or we know we shouldn't click on that link. So, compliance is good. What we want to get to, though, from a management perspective, is commitment. Now, look, there are going to be some days where you're really motivated, highly committed. You just want to work to the betterment of everybody, and that's great. What we want to do is get you to commit to do a little bit more than you absolutely needed to do. And that way, not only are you productive, but you're keeping the organization, its information, the security and confidentiality of materials you handle in mind when you're acting with cybersecurity as your goal.
Which brings us to the icky sticky part. While everybody will admit that in the abstract, insider threats are rarer but generally much more costly than outsider threats, a lot of people shrug and say, what are you going to do? You can't predict human behavior. How good a job can we do on that?
So insider threat is a longtime concern of many organizations, particularly in governments or militaries where you've got secrets, you've got information you don't wish your adversary to know about. But these are becoming more and more of a concern in everyday life. Hospitals, cities, organizations across the country are being bombarded by non-state actors. These are people living in basements who get paid by a third party on behalf of criminal gangs or on bad actor governments to hold organizations ransom in order to make a profit. So what you do is you shut down people's systems and you won't turn their water back on, turn the lights back on, turn the school systems grade system back on until some ransom's been paid. Well, so insider threats are people who engage in that voluntarily. And they do that out of a very small number of rationales. One is that they're doing it for money, right? They're going to make some extra money on the side. Well, that's unfortunate, but true. People sometimes do it for um, vainglory. They want to show how wonderful they are, how much smarter they are. Sometimes they do it because um, they want to get back at the organization for perceived wrongdoing and mismanagement. So they owe me. If you hear those three words, that's probably someone who's heading down insider threat road right there. Um, there are also people ultimately and unfortunately who are having mental health crises and they threaten harm to self or others. Uh, those are terribly unfortunate and sad, and you have to deal with them. But all of those people, people who believe that they can make a little extra money, people who believe that some other organization should have this information, people who want to show how great they are, people who believe the organization owes them, all of these people are threats because they're going to provide your intellectual property, your customers' property, credit card numbers, social security numbers, phone numbers, what have you, photos to people who are going to misuse them. And why do these people on your inside do that? Because, first of all, their behavior is not being managed adequately. And secondly, because they feel they have righted the balance, some universal balance, where now they have gotten back at bad managers or bad organizations, and now they feel that they've achieved some level of performance that they were not otherwise able to do with the benefit accruing to them.
Well, thanks very much. I must say you've hit on management a lot, and that is a question we get. Why does Pythia talk so much about management when we're talking about cybersecurity?
Managers ultimately set the tone. They're the people who enforce performance standards. They are the people who have the greatest oversight of individuals who report to them. This is true at the executive level. It's true at the shop floor level. It's true at the school unit level. Um, the whole purpose of supervision is to ensure that people are performing according at least to standards. Remember, we want commitment more than compliance, but at least to standards, and bad things are not happening. We want our best managers to ask you and get you to do just a little bit more than you were supposed to do. Now, in some environments, like union environments, there are rules and regulations, and that's fine. But even there, those rules and regulations are written about productivity. They're written about behavioral standards. They're not written about cybersecurity. And so, what we're talking about is increasing the scope of managers so that they're responsible and accountable, not just for people's productive behavior, but also to engage in cybersecure behavior, which is something that a lot of managers are not familiar with doing. So it does take some um, building trust and comfort. It takes change. We're going to change things just a little bit. And we're going to do it so that people feel that they have made a contribution at work today and people's information, property, pictures are secure.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll certainly return to change in further videos, but I appreciate the overview of behavioral science in this area, and I think our viewers will too. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.